Welcome back to the lab. We're installing a roll cage in the little ZX10R. Might be an R, it might be just a ZX10 powered Barina. Let's have a look at that. Not sure if I showed you, put that in obviously in the previous video. This is the good thing about having things that can be bolted on and unbolted. Those bolt-ons are the seatbelt brackets that are in behind here. I wrote that on there so I knew what the thread was, so I wouldn't put the wrong bolts in there by accident. You can undo those and drop the roll cage down, and then you can do the top of the welds that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. That's a pretty common technique. That's nothing new. That's nothing special to me. That's very, very ordinary sort of thing. People do that with the boxes underneath. You build up a box to a given height, then you can take that box away. You can lower the cage down, do your welds up on top there. Look how much room there is there. And then lift it all back up into place and put the boxes underneath, which is literally what we're doing. But I'm using these brackets here. Some people will put those on later on, but I'll put them on pretty early on because they hold the cage exactly where it needs to be. 100%. So the front will be a little bit harder because I've pushed that out as wide as I can do, so it is still sitting on top of the sill, so I'm not going to be able to drop that down any lower than what it is there. And despite that looking like heaps of room, it's not actually all that much room when you're trying to get in there with a TIG torch and weld over the top of that. But it'll be alright, we'll get it done. Obviously the folders there, bender there, there's a large mess there. There's the bender in the middle of the screen there, and obviously I've folded these laterals up from steel stock there. It's pretty boring watching that, to be honest. People were commenting saying I could, well, someone commented saying I could make the videos longer if I showed things like that, but to be honest, by the time I smash a GoPro on my head, try and remember where my head is aiming so that the GoPro aims in the right direction so I can film things like bending tubes and stuff like that. That compromises the work. And that's not what it's all about. These videos are more or less entertainment slash advertising. Entertaining for you guys, hopefully. Advertising for anyone who might be local, might want some work done for me. And a little bit of a hobby just to entertain myself. I don't want them to interfere with the actual work that's going on. Speaking of work, I'm going to put that back into its appropriate spot with a couple of bolts. Bang, bang. And then we'll do these windscreen bars, get that sorted out, then we can have a look at door bars. Door bars will be a little bit tricky because I made these front laterals really wide. They're literally touching these points up in here and the A pillars, sorry. They're hard up against there. So we're not going to be able to slide this any further forward. Once you imagine once that's lifted up, that's pretty close there. So we can't slide it forward, and that's inside this panel at the back here. Luckily, there's a great big gaping big hole here. So we'll be able to slide the whole assembly rearwards, and then we can get to the rest of the welding on the door bars. Very goodly. Cold drink, bolt it back in, carry on. See, bolt it back up. Look, I got the feng shui. Really good there. It's nice and lined up, isn't it? So, I mean, ideally you'd want to actually have that 100% vertical. You are allowed a small amount of deviation from vertical. I've done that because it'll line up with the B pillars nicely, and it gives us a little bit more room for where the seat is, etc. etc. Right, and there's our laterals. That's how they're fitting in there. Beautiful, see? No CNC folding or laser scanning or anything like that. Oh, they could come out a little bit at the top, couldn't they? We'll do that with our windscreen bar. We'll just put some tension on that, push them out. That's easy enough to do. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. They're actually pretty close up in here anyway. As you can, oh, you're actually not going to move that much more than about there. So, as I said, they're pretty close down the bottom here. Although that is kind of floating, so we can adjust that, but that's the intention, is to have that pretty much touching there. And we're going to do our gusset like we have on the March in between here and here. It's going to be a pretty small one. There probably isn't enough room to worry about any stiffening holes or anything like that. We'll just do a solid plate. No, we'll drill some holes, but they won't have any webbing, I guess you'd call it, around the edge of it. And that is as close as I could get it realistically, lined up same angle as the door there. You can see that, that's not bad. This has got squeaky brakes. Might whip that wheel off and take that caliper off. It's getting a bit annoying listening to that. You just touch the car. Yep, anyway, that's the biggest problems I've got today. Then things are going pretty good. Our cage is nice and good. It follows the contours of the car as per what it is supposed to do. It does, from some angles, look further out than what it actually is. Just cameras and stuff like that. Right, stop babbling, let's get some more bars in it. Windscreen bar bent, that's all it needs, just a little bit of a kink to help raise this piece up out of the field of vision. Is this where we start playing the funky music and stuff? You guys wanted action shots, so... Oh no, look, there's a disaster already. I have complaints about the noise. By Jeebers. That's about as far as that'll cut. Now the reason why that piece hasn't fallen off the end is because the saw has not gone through the exact center line of the tube. It hasn't done that because we've got a bend in it, and it happens to be exactly where this is. I should put the bend a little bit further along, but she'll be right. So we can tidy this up with the angle grinder. We'll just take it out and zip off that side, give it a bit of a tidy up with cutty disc, flappy disc. Good as gold. I don't know what piece of wood is sitting. That's actually, remember the Gloria? There's a speaker hole for the parcel tray on the Gloria. Can't remember if I made it out of plywood that thick. It might be a template. Anyway, I did remove some rubbish off my bench. Need to do some more. Oh, I just lied. Apparently I said it wouldn't chop that piece off the end. I gave it another shove and it did, but as you can see, it is off the center line, like I said. That's why we got that tab left there. See? Told you. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. You can see it's off center. That's absolutely fine. Actually makes it easier for what we're doing. Now, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. This is where it's getting late in the day and I try and do something with one hand to show you guys that it works. And then I slip and it crashes down. See? Crash down. Hang on. There. That's kind of, well, it's not 100% square, kind of where I wanted it to be. Probably is a little bit further back than what I wanted. That's no problem. We do need to put a slight angle on the hole. It's not quite right. I was hoping that by the time we came up to that radius it was going to be 90 degrees. It will be if we bring both of them right back a little bit. Nah, I probably will do that. I'm just going to hit it with a hammer. Just like that. Makes it look easy, doesn't it? Weldy weldies. And we'll put it back up where it needs to go. We'll do our dash bar. And we're going to remove all this palavery here. And bolt this directly to the roll cage dash bar with a nice lovely bracket, which all has to be homologated as part of the paperwork. Alright, it's looking good, we're getting there. Dash bar all welded in, no brackets for the column just yet. Managed to weld all the way around without moving the cage, that was good. Tomorrow brackety thingy, although I might leave that till last, actually, just thinking about it, because we need to move the cage backwards and forwards to do the door bars, as I talked about earlier on. If I put a bracket on there, then it's going to get tangled up in the column and all sorts of things, so we'll do that later. So, yep, as I said, door bars. I'll talk to him and see if he wants any other bracing in there. We're thinking about doing one across there. Transom bar, I think it might be called. Not sure, can't remember. So do that sooner rather than later, because that could get quite tricky welding around the bottom here. On that side, the other side not so much. The other side, that bar actually does need pushing out that way anyway, so transom bar will fix that nicely. Give the car some strength. We probably are allowed to tag it down to the chassis rails. I'll talk with Motorsport New Zealand and check on that. Don't think they would have an issue with that. It's probably a good idea to put a little riser tube up from here, weld around the base of that, and then weld around there where the tube comes across here. That's probably a very good idea. And then we can do our, once the door bars are done and foot plates are done, the cage isn't moving backwards and forwards or anything anymore, and we can do these backstays last. They'll go up to that point there where the front laterals are. Looks like they're in a different spot when you're standing here looking at this, but they're not. So come from this big hand that's in the way, from there down to there somewhere, either on top or on the front face of that, and we'll be just about done at that point. Very good. All right, thanks for watching. You'll see me tomorrow. Cheers, bye.